Breaking overnight, Russia attacked Ukraine with a barrage of drones and missiles, including a new hypersonic ballistic missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. At least 4 people were killed, several others were injured. Russian defense officials say the overnight attack comes in response to an alleged Ukrainian drone strike late last year on a residence used by President Vladimir Putin. The U.S. has rejected the Kremlin's claim, saying Putin's residence was not targeted. Ukraine dismissed Putin's claims as a lie intended as a distraction.
What if the most powerful weapon in your arsenal was never touched in flight, but neutralized before launch? This week, Ukraine did something that may quietly reshape the nuclear balance narrative in Europe, not by intercepting a hypersonic missile, not by matching Russia's nuclear capability, but by striking the infrastructure that makes Russia's newest hypersonic system operational. And that changes the psychology of deterrence. Because nuclear weapons are not only about destruction, they are about credibility, and credibility depends on control. Russia's Oreshnik system was introduced as a strategic message: hypersonic, nuclear-capable, medium-range, designed to intimidate Ukraine and Europe. When it struck Western Ukraine, it wasn't just a military act. It was signaling. The message was simple: we can reach you, and you cannot stop it. But Ukraine didn't try to stop it in the air. Instead, it reportedly targeted infrastructure in the Astrakhan region, specifically near Kapustin Yar, a site historically linked to missile testing and pre-launch preparation. That's not symbolic. That's structural. Because modern missile systems rely on pre-launch assembly diagnostics, calibration, storage, infrastructure, personnel, and workflow. Disrupt those, and you don't destroy a missile. You disrupt tempo. And tempo is everything in strategic messaging. Even if the physical damage was limited, the psychological impact is enormous. Here's why. Hypersonic weapons derive part of their power from inevitability. They are marketed as unstoppable, too fast, too advanced, too difficult to intercept. If you cannot intercept them, you fear them. But Ukraine just demonstrated something different. If we cannot stop it in the sky, we can hit it before it leaves the ground. That shifts the logic of deterrence. Now Russia must consider hardening preparation sites, dispersing infrastructure, increasing security layers, slowing launch cycles, relocating workflows. Every defensive adjustment costs time and resources, and in strategic weapon systems, time equals vulnerability. Ukraine's reported use of long-range systems like the Flamingo platform is what makes this more significant. Unlike traditional drones, these hybrid systems reportedly combine extended range, high subsonic speed, low altitude approach, heavy payload capacity, and perhaps most importantly, lower production cost compared to traditional cruise missiles. That changes escalation economics. If a weapon is expensive, it is used rarely. If it is affordable, it becomes part of a campaign. Repeated disruption creates strategic friction, and friction degrades deterrence credibility. Here's the uncomfortable layer beneath this strike. Russia's nuclear messaging depends on perception. Perception that its systems are protected, its escalation ladder is intact, its strategic depth is secure. Ukraine just tested that perception. And here is the dilemma for Moscow. If Russia escalates massively in response, it risks international backlash beyond current levels. If Russia does not escalate, the aura of invulnerability weakens. This is not about destroying nuclear weapons. It's about forcing Russia to prove how far it's willing to go, and so far, that threshold hasn't been crossed. When Oreshnik struck western Ukraine near NATO borders, the signal was clear. Europe is within range. Now Europe is watching something different. Ukraine reaching deep into Russian territory and targeting strategic infrastructure. That introduces a new variable into European security calculations. If Ukraine can repeatedly disrupt preparation sites, Russia's ability to project hypersonic intimidation may be reduced, not eliminated. Reduced. And deterrence is a game of margins. For decades, large powers relied on geographic depth, rear areas, interior regions, facilities far from the front. But modern long-range precision systems erase geography. Astrakhan is far from the battlefield, and yet reachable. That changes assumptions about safe zones, strategic sanctuaries, nuclear preparation buffers. The deeper lesson is not about one missile system. It is about vulnerability diffusion. No major military power today can assume rear infrastructure is untouchable. The key question now isn't, was Oreshnik destroyed? It's, can Russia operate it confidently? If preparation infrastructure must be rebuilt, hardened, relocated, that slows operational rhythm. And hypersonic deterrence depends on visible readiness. If readiness becomes uncertain, the psychological effect diminishes, even temporarily. And temporary vulnerability during war is strategic opportunity. This conflict is no longer only about territory, it's about signaling. Russia signals with hypersonic strikes, Ukraine signals by hitting the systems behind them. One project's inevitability, the other project's disruption. The real battlefield here is perception. Because in nuclear strategy, credibility matters as much as capability. And this week, Ukraine didn't just hit a facility. It challenged the credibility of Russia's newest strategic weapon. And that is why this strike matters far beyond the damage report.